Greetings to you. I do hope you're enjoying The Secret History of Hollywood. Delighted to tell you that the very dramatic Part 2 of Carrie is on the way and coming soon. You may not be aware, but Carrie is actually the 10th series of this podcast. Series 1 is called The Game is Afoot and tells the fabulous story of the Sherlock Holmes movies, starring Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, because who doesn't love those?
Very effective, my dear Watson. Elementary, my dear Holmes. Elementary.
Series 2 is called Sex in Monochrome, a look at Hollywood's fascination with sex on screen, focusing mainly on the pre-code era, but actually stretching much further back than that.
Yeah, I'm a tramp, and who's to blame? My father. A swell start you gave me. Ever since I was 14, what's it been? Nothing but men, dirty, rotten men, and you're lower than any of them. I'll hate you as long as I live.
Series 3 is Hunting Witches with Walt Disney, an enigmatic title for a show that tells the complete story of the Red Scare in the mid-20th century, how it came to be, and how it tore Hollywood apart through the interlocking stories of 10 specific Hollywood players.
You're not asking the question.
I was.
The chief investigator's asking the question. Now, are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
I believe I have the right to be confronted with any evidence which supports this question. I should like to see what you have.
Oh, well, you would.
Yes.
Well, you will pretty soon.
Series 4 was the first real epic. A Universe of Horrors is a complete insight into the much-loved Universal horror movies, focusing on every single movie, box office hits and obscure B-movies alike, as well as the stories of every star and every creative mind behind them.
It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Series 5 is The Adventures of Alfred Hitchcock, the complete life story of the 20th century's most influential filmmaker, a sometimes delightful but sometimes tough tale of obsession, creativity, darkness, and light. It's a series that offers a comprehensive study of the man, each and every one of his movies, and the profound effect that his wife Alma had upon his career, as well as the star names he worked with and the 20th century itself.
Good evening. I'm Alfred Hitchcock, and tonight I'm presenting the first in a series of stories of suspense and mystery. I shall not act in these stories, but will only make appearances, something in the nature of an accessory before and after the fact.
Series 6 is Bullets and Blood.
Rated man! Top of the world!
The story of the Warner Brothers studio is the story of the American dream, an immigrant family who escaped a violent beginning and arrived penniless in America, only to conquer its newest and most lucrative art form. In Bullets and Blood, hear the story of the crime movie in the 20th century, the gut-wrenching story of the Warner family and those they loved, and of James Cagney, the iron-willed redhead from the belly of New York, who would go on to become their biggest star.
All right, fellas. Let's go and say a prayer for a boy who couldn't run as fast as I could.
Series 7 is Shadows, the life story of Val Lewton, the RKO producer who would redefine horror cinema for all time, with his unique respect for audiences and an unparalleled creativity, the effects of which are still being felt in today's cinema.
Climb on, sister. Are you riding with me or ain't you? You look as if you'd seen a ghost.
Did you see it?
Shadows explores not just Lewton and his private life, but each of the incredible nightmares he created, and features the singular talents of Mark Gatiss, who reads each episode's prologue.
In the year of 1701, on the Greek island of Mykonos, the French botanist Joseph Piton de Tournefort had stumbled upon dark goings-on.
Series 8 is Audrey, the girl before the girl. The life of Audrey Hepburn began not upon the screen, but in a small corner of Europe, and under the wing of a family that was to see their world torn apart by the storm of war and by the legacy of a dark family secret. In The Girl Before the Girl, hear the incredible true-life story of Hollywood's most resilient and iconic survivor, and of the sometimes unbelievable childhood that shaped her. Softly, Audrey slipped between the people, who smiled and congratulated her as she made her way across the room to where her brother waited, the shoes still in his hand. She glanced down at them and frowned as he turned them over in his fingers and began to stammer quietly. Audrey shook her head almost imperceptibly, and then took the shoes and slipped them quietly on. "Now," she said, "what do you need me to do?" Series 9 is something of an oddity, a true crime miniseries made up of 14 episodes, collected under the title Death on Alvarado Street, which tells the fascinating story behind the murder of William Desmond Taylor and the real-life Hollywood name who undertook a lengthy investigation.
It seems like a blip in the history books now, a little footnote. Crazy little mystery that didn't mean much in the end, but we were there, remember?
Of course I remember.
We remember the damage it did. We remember the things that night stole from people.
More smile. You've been chasing this dream for years, Professor Latour. Your white whale. Problem is, making a movie about William Desmond Taylor's murder won't work.
And the reason?
And the reason is that it has no ending. It's a mystery with no solution.
Madame Zaza, it's time to dust off the magician's hat. I think I know who did it.
Aside from all these stories, there are also hundreds more hours of entertainment for you to enjoy. A miniature bite-sized version of The Secret History of Hollywood releases every fortnight. Its name is Blueprints, and currently includes almost 40 episodes, some of which act as bonus material to the larger series. Also available are a growing catalogue of movie commentaries ready for you to access and enjoy along to some of your favorite movies. Simply download, follow the instructions, and listen along with myself as I tell you the stories behind such classics as Roman Holiday, It's a Wonderful Life, The Thin Man, The Roaring Twenties, and many more. This was never a story about love. It's a story about humanity, it's about friendship, it's about respect. It's a story about a couple of souls who met one day and changed each other for the better. All of this bonus material, plus much more, is instantly available to you now. Simply go to www.patreon.com/attaboysecrets or follow the link in the show notes of this episode. Signing up takes less than a minute and costs as little as $1 per month. On top of everything else, you'll also receive a weekly invitation to our online film club, held each and every Sunday. The movie is provided. Just click on your invitation link at the scheduled time and watch along with our ever-growing community of classic movie lovers and discover not just some new favorites, but some new friends. If you're stuck for a movie to watch, there are also over 80 bonus review shows available for you to download now, many of them featuring alongside the old-time radio versions of the films themselves. You'll also hear every Secret History of Hollywood episode in its entirety, long before everyone else on the main podcast. Previews are sent to patrons long before the public release date. Also, your name will feature on the credits of every episode as a co-producer. Plus, most importantly of all, you'll be making this show happen. So for that, thank you very much indeed. Become a co-producer today and unlock a world of bonus material, an instant classic movie community, and hundreds more hours of Hollywood history. Simply sign up at www.patreon.com/attaboysecret or click the link in the show notes of this episode. And thank you.